All right, we are live, guys. It is Chase and Derek Dimes from Ghost Picks Against the Spread. Facts First Podcast opening line report, December the 19th. And we're ready to get it rolling for you guys. We're going to do an opening line report for the NFL this week. Just go over what this is initial thoughts. This is not truly breaking down any game in depth. Initial thoughts on side and total. We'll give you some free leans of what we think initially. And we'll get into a few little promos. So, Derek, I think this is your first time on the Facts First. Tell everybody what's going on and how you've been rolling.
Yes, sir, man. Derek Dimes tuning in live for the Facts First for the very first time. Glad to be here. Happy to be a part of the podcast, guys. Having a phenomenal last couple of days. Check out my week. $99. You can get a full week for plus 25 units in the first 2 days. Undefeated so far. 7-0, 2 days straight. Double top tier winners, guys. Make sure you lock in. I want you to be a part of it, man. Something special here. We're on a run, and I want you to be a part of the streak.
Yeah, he's hot right now, guys, and everybody else. So at Ghost Picks Against the Spread, if you are new, if you haven't seen anything about us, 5 expert handicappers, myself, Derek Dimes, Jack, Benny, Jimmy. You can check out any of our stuff on YouTube, just Ghost Picks and then our name. So Ghost Picks Chase, Ghost Picks Derek, so on and so forth. Run promos every single day. We're in the middle of our 12 Days of Christmas special. Yeah. Tomorrow we got our Wild Wednesday special, which is a $10 day. Any capper that you want, go check out any of the guys or go to ghostpicksats.com. You'll see the full rundown. Click on it, jump on it. You will not be disappointed. So we're going to kick this off. Opening line report. I'm going to let my man Derek take the wheel for the first game, and we'll get it started. We'll give you what we think.
All right, guys, what we got here, no Thursday games this week, but we do have 2 Saturday games. So we're going to hop over to the Washington Redskins going up against the Tennessee Titans. That line opened up at -10, favoring the Tennessee Titans with the total set at 37. What you got, Chase?
And this is just initial thought, but that line seems a little high. And, again, Washington has not been playing good. Tennessee has had some impressive outings. Right. Defensively and offensively, I think they are much improved from last year. Marcus Mariota has also kind of found a rhythm that he hasn't had in recent years. Right. But just initial thought, again, this isn't a game that really intrigues me with 2 teams that I could care less to wager my money on. That seems a little high.
I agree.
Correct me if you see anything different, but this line seems suspect.
Yeah, 10 seems a little high. I agree there. Tennessee's playing good football at the right time of the year here, being 8-6, 5-1 at home. They are at home. And we got butt fumble under center, man. So, I think that plays a huge part, a decent part into why the line is so high, because he was so bad the other day. Right. But they did get a win last week against the Jaguars, the Jaguars have been struggling, but I think Cody Kessler may be a little bit worse than Mark Sanchez, actually. Yeah. But
and we always play in double digits in the NFL.
Right.
9 out of 10 is suicide. You really want to be very careful whenever you're laying double digits, and you got to make sure that you're laying it with the right team at the right time. But, in a game that doesn't interest me a lot, I don't see a ton of value here. Initial thought for me on the side, because it's double digits, I might bump it up a half point, and I'll take the points and ride with it and hope for the best.
Right, I agree there.
Well, we got what do we got on deck next? We got
Yeah, next game is actually a really nice game. It should be a really good one here. We have the Baltimore Ravens going to L.A. facing the Chargers, who are 5-2 at home. The line opened up at 5.5, favoring the Chargers. Dropped down to 4.5. Total set at 45. Dropped down to 44.5.
That scares me, because the thing, just again, initial thoughts, guys. That line should be higher. It should be higher with a very good Phillip Rivers, a good Chargers team, but I don't want to take anything away from what's happened with the Ravens this year. They've played well. They've started to come into their own. But that line, it seems a little fishy at first. Why is the line not higher? Initial thought, I got to ride with the hot hand here and say that I still think the Chargers are the far superior team.
Right. Now, on this one, I may have to differ for a little bit there and go against what you think. What they're doing with Lamar Jackson, I know he's not a great quarterback as far as throwing the ball, but they're playing keep away. And that defense is fresh come the fourth quarter. And we've seen Phillip Rivers turn the ball over. And although they win at home, they haven't been great against the spread at home, where they're much better against the spread on the road. So, 5.5, dropping down to 4.5. I think this is going to be a 3-point game. I thought it would be more 3, honestly, in my opinion, with Baltimore's defense being what it is. But I don't know. There's a I don't know. I kind of like the side in this one, 45 going on a 44.5. I like the over, honestly, in this one.
I did too. That's what I was getting ready to say. If I had to lay anything right now, I like the over. Like I said, Baltimore has played some decent defense. They were playing, um, they came back after getting really trounced in the fourth quarter against Kansas City on the road.
Right.
They really had, moments of defensive greatness this year.
Right.
Being able to play as a defensive unit, being able to make adjustments when they need to, when teams really start to figure them out, which has impressed me. As far as elite level teams that they played against, obviously when the end comes, they get defeated, but they've hung with them very well.
Right.
Total like that, I think that it's pretty spot on, and
Right.
I'm going to agree with you there. If there's anything that I like out of this game as a whole, I favor the over.
I agree. All right, so we're going to move on to Sunday, 1 o'clock games here. We have Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is favored in this one, -7, with the total set at 46, moved up to 46.5. Early looks on this one, man. A lot of people are on the under in this one, 46.5. Dallas coming off a tough loss, shutout against the Colts, So then they're, what's that?
We called that one.
We did call that, and I don't know why we didn't put that on the card in the duo, because that was like one of the first ones. Like, I love this play, and then we didn't end up putting it on anyway. I mean, we still had a great day, but looking at this one, -7 going up against Tampa Bay. I mean, they're 1-6 on the road. Dallas is a very decent team at home, and I mean, they got to bounce back. That was a terrible showing last week. They got completely controlled from start to finish in that one.
I'm going to agree with you here. And like you and I talked last week, we were talking about Indianapolis and Dallas being the two most improved teams in our opinion. Indianapolis probably being just a little bit step ahead of Dallas, but Dallas, especially defensively, has been the most improved defense, I think, in all of the league over the past 6 weeks. Going up against a team that has not been able to find offensive rhythm this year. They've gone through their spurts with, Fitzpatrick and then Jameis coming back and having a few good games, but as a whole, as a unit, the offense just cannot stay in rhythm.
Right.
Being Dallas is at home, being that Dallas, like you said, just got throttled by Indianapolis, I see a big Dallas bounce back here. I think it's a good spot for them. So initial thought, I'm willing to favor Dallas. That is probably going to be something that I'm going to look a lot heavier into before Sunday's card, because that's a game that just initially thinking I really like that game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. This is one that intrigues me quite a bit here, with it being -7. I would initially, looking at it, I'm going to favor Dallas in this one, and definitely, like you said, it will be a play that I'll be looking into.
What did you say the total was in this one?
The total in this one's 46. It moved up to 46.5, and right now all the money's on the under.
I can't say that I agree with that.
I can't either.
I just think that, like I said, neither team has been great on offense, but Dallas is starting to find rhythm. I think Zeke can actually have a field day against this Tampa Bay defense.
So poor.
And the thing is, even as improved as Dallas has been, they're not the team that's just going to go shut someone out.
Right.
And we all know that this Tampa Bay offense has ways of scoring, especially if they decide to put it through the air. Right. So initial thought, I certainly don't like it like I do the side, but I have to lean over in this one.
Right. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, honestly. I think this line is almost spot on, but I'd much rather play the spread, and actually I probably wouldn't touch the total at all in this one at all, honestly. We're going to move forward now. We got the Buffalo Bills going up against the New England Patriots, who dropped 2 in a row, which is, unorthodox at this time of the year. It's something you don't see from New England, dropping 2 in a row, but they're 6-0 at home. They come in favored by 10.5 points. That line has moved up 2.5 points already. It's at 12.5. Opened up at 45.5, dropped down to 45. What do you think about this one?
Initial thought, I love New England in this spot. And the reason I like them so much is not only, we all know that New England's a better team. Right. We know that Tom Brady, like you said, it's unorthodox for him, especially this time of the season, for him to be dropping games. Right. I don't think that it's necessarily his fault, but he's got to take the blame in some of it. He has not played like the typical Tom Brady. Right. Going out there and having control of a game against Miami that it just exploded in their face. You and I both know what's going on in the locker room this week.
Right.
Tom pushed everyone aside, and he is now controlling this team. And listen, we know that his years are numbered. He can't do this forever. But for him to leave out on a note on a losing season, we know that's not going to happen.
Right.
So, coming off of 2 losses, going up against a far inferior team, I see what could be a blowout by New England just to make a statement from Tom Brady. And that's my initial thought.
And initially here, I mean, I would agree with you, but I get tentative because although like I feel like we're just waiting and waiting and waiting to see New England that of old, but they're in reality they're not the same.
No.
Gronk's waited around and we all thought he was going to retire and he didn't retire. And I mean, he's playing, but they're double covering him now. And honestly, to me, from the game that I saw against the Steelers, it looked like a lot of mistrust out there. There were a lot of drop balls in that game. I mean, Edelman dropped a bunch. Gordon dropped a few huge ones that he dropped. And it was like he only looked at Edelman and Gronk for the majority of that game. I mean, that last drive, he threw to Gronk 3 or 4 straight plays, double covered. He didn't even look at guys. And I mean, I don't care what anyone says. Flash Gordon one-on-one, you at least got to take a look, man. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, 12 and a half. I mean, they should blow them out. I think they definitely win the game. But we know Buffalo plays good D. Allen's back. They're going to try to play keep away. They're going to try to run the ball. They're trying to limit the passes that Allen makes, and they're going to play good defense. And Buffalo has a solid defense.
Yeah, and Buffalo has nothing to lose. It's not like losing this game is going to be detrimental to their season.
Right.
It will be detrimental to everything New England has.
Right.
So, like I said, initial thought.
Right.
And I'm not thinking about New England as a whole. I'm thinking about the one person we have to think about, and that's
right. Right.
The greatest to ever do it. If I'm gonna lay money on this game, I'm gonna do his thing. But as of right now, I'm 50-50 on the fence of whether I back Brady or whether I completely lay off. Right. I don't see a happy medium there. So it's either Brady or nothing for me.
Oh, I agree. I'm not betting against Tom Brady. I don't care. So
we said that last week. It bit us. Yeah.
It bit me in the butt, but I don't care, man. Until that man retires, I am not going against Tom Brady.
Absolutely not.
But
what we got next?
We'll move forward. We have Atlanta Falcons going up against the Carolina Panthers here. Carolina's favorite 3.5. It opened up 3.5, dropped down to 2.5. Total set at 50.5, dropped down to 47. 93% of the public's on the under.
Ooh.
Right. So yeah, I mean, first thoughts for this. I mean, I talked to Jimmy about this a couple games ago when we were really thinking. I think you and I talked about it as well. We're really thinking like, man, I like Carolina. We're probably going to push it money line, and then I don't think any of us did. And I was saying, man, I'm not sure that Cam Newton can throw. With they're saying how sore his shoulder is, and I think the last few weeks. We've really seen that. I mean, Cam was throwing the ball into the ground. He did not look good in that game against the Saints. I mean, they're doing everything, but this is pretty much Christian McCaffrey's team at this point.
Exactly. And I'll tell you another thing about Cam Newton, and I've always been the one to back Cam Newton up when people are out there dogging him for whatever reason. Let's face it, Cam Newton's a good ball player. He's a fantastic athlete, but not only, like you said, about his shoulder, which is it's becoming more and more just kind of out in the open every week. It's more and more obvious where you can see that it's not 100%.
Right.
But I also don't think that in his mind, I don't know that he has the care that he did 2 seasons ago when they were on a roll. I honestly think that right now he knows that, okay, the season's not going anywhere fast.
Right.
I think that his mind is elsewhere. I don't think that his heart's in it 100% right now. I don't think his head's in it 100%. That mixed with a little bit of, whether it be shoulder soreness or an underlying injury that people are not telling us about.
Right.
I can't back Cam Newton anymore as a supporter. I have backed Atlanta all year. I have backed their offense. We know they have no defense.
Right.
Carolina has the offense to do what they want to do, but also a good defense. I'm staying away from the total.
Right.
This week, if I play this, I'm going to ride the Dirty Birds because of what the issues I think are going on with Cam Newton.
Right.
How potent the Falcons offense can be, as we just saw last week, a huge top tier winner for us.
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
If I play this game, I got to ride the Falcons all day long.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. Just because I don't like what I've seen from Cam Newton, and I think that there's something going on that they're not talking about. Kind of similar to the Carson Wentz deal. I think Wentz has been hurt for a while, and they kind of kept it under wraps. And I think that may be the case with Cam Newton, but they're going to let him ride it out. They're not going to bench him, that's for sure. But I would probably ride with Atlanta for sure. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said this is a rivalry game too. So you come into, it's when you get into this situation with a rivalry game, you have a coach with Atlanta that with as great of an offense as he has, he's riding thin ice whether people realize it or not. Right. You come into this past Sunday with the record that he has, with as good as his team actually is,
Right.
yeah, guess what? Red flags are being raised as to whether or not he can handle this job and get them back to where they were 2 years ago.
Right.
So he's not pulling out any stops. Being a rivalry game, if your head's not all the way in it, your opponent will eat you alive.
Right.
So, like I said, if I take anything this week, I'm riding Falcons all day long.
Right. All right, we're going to move it right along then. Jacksonville Jaguars going up into Miami. Miami's favorite in this one. It opened up -4, moved to 4.5. The line 39.5 and hasn't budged a bit. Majority of the public's on the under in this one. First thoughts on this one for me. I'm going to have to say Miami, man. There's not too much that I've seen from Jacksonville. And honestly, at this point for me, I think that they're not even playing for pride. At this point, they're kind of just coasting through the year. I mean, beginning of the year, we heard nothing but Jalen Ramsey's mouth every week. He's running his mouth. I'm the best corner. And we haven't heard a single thing. I mean, 1-5 on the road. They're 4-10 overall. They just lost to Washington. They're going into Miami, who's 6-1 at home. And it seems like this time of year, Miami's a tough place to play with the warm weather. Guys can't seem to adjust down there. But I would have a slight lean, I'd say, towards Miami in this one at -4.5.
I'm going to 100% agree with you there. Like we said, this game doesn't intrigue me a lot. It's not even a game that I think a lot of the general public are going to care to watch. Like you said, over the past 2 seasons, the Jaguars are a team that we consistently hear about. Their defense, the sleeper team of the NFL. How deep can they go? Can they make a repeat? And it's like you said, what have they done the entire second half of the season? You don't hear anything out of them. You kind of expect them to lose at this point, while Miami is silently creeping up and beating teams. And they're doing it by playing a better ball game. It's not luck of the draw. It's not, just coming out there and catching a few sloppy passes. They're beating teams.
Right.
And they're doing it without getting a lot of, conversation surrounding them. So, again, I don't love the game, but initial thought, I definitely favor Miami.
Right. What do you think about that total? You think that's spot on or what? 39.5?
I think the total is very fair. If I'm gonna play the total, I'm gonna have to say under as well.
Right.
Jacksonville, stereotypical under team. Miami does not put up a lot of points. They are very back and forth for what they do on the ground and in the air, so they know how to control the clock if they need to. And if they get in the spot where they do have a decent lead, they will run the clock out. So I don't love it, but I'm going to have to agree with the public there and say under.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. We're going to keep it moving right along here with the New York Giants going up against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are favored -9.5. Line is dropped down to 9. Total set at 47, dropped down to 46.5. What's your initial thoughts on this one?
I think the line's a little bit too high. I almost think that it's jumping the gun a little bit with as well as Indianapolis, has played. Again, I do think they are the better team. Like you and I both said, probably the most improved team.
Right.
New York is nothing to brag about, but you still have people like Odell Beckham. How I feel about Eli Manning, but there's no he can still win ball games. So I think the line is a little bit steep. I think that the odds makers are either kind of setting people up or it's initial money that's just jumping the gun because of the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
If I had to make a gut decision right now with a gun in my head, I'm going to back Indianapolis, but I don't like the 9 points.
Yeah. I think 9's too many in this one. I thought it would be a little bit closer, maybe 7 or 6.5, 7, 6.5, maybe even 6, but 9.5 dropping to 9. I mean, 80% of the public's on the Giants. I think that's too many. The Colts are very improved with the young rookie leading the league in tackles there. Leonard, man, that kid's a stud. On defense, the defense got better. The O-line's got better. Luck looks good again. And, I mean, I like what I've seen from the Colts. I just think that 9 points is too many to lay in this one.
And here's the thing. This is a game where, like I said, it's not that I don't think the Colts can win this by double digits. Right. I think they can do it, maybe make it look easy. Right. But as you and I know how we invest our money and the way we watch lines, do I like the Colts in this game? Absolutely. But this would be a game that I would be willing to lay off of. But this would be a game time decision for me. I want to watch the line, see what it does.
Right.
If the public does what I think they're going to do, they can bring this line down closer to a touchdown. If they get it close enough to where I could buy and get it at a touchdown, I'll take the Colts. But other than that, this will be a game that I just have to lay off of just because I don't like the line.
Right. And I'm not sure what Odell's status is. You know what that is. I know he hadn't been practicing much. He didn't play last week. And I'm not sure where he's at, but he's a huge factor, man. When he plays, that offense is different.
If right now he's still listed as questionable, which again in the NFL you don't know what that means. That's from day
Everybody's
to day you
questionable.
don't know.
Right.
That's why I say this could be a game time decision. Now, if it comes noon on Sunday and we know Odell's not playing, it's still sitting at 8, and I can
Right.
get it at 7.5, but we know Odell's not playing.
Right.
I jump on last minute, throw some good money on it. But as
Right.
of right now, this would be a game that I would recommend everybody hold off, don't do anything drastic, and let's wait and see what happens right before game time.
All right, great. We're going to keep it rolling here in this one. Houston Texans against my Philadelphia Eagles, baby. Philadelphia in this one is actually favored. It started out as a pick'em.
Good win. Very impressive.
It was an impressive win. Started out as a pick'em, moved to the Eagles favored -2. Total is set at 45 and hasn't budged much. Public is on the under, 84% on the under. And it's almost 50-50 here with the spread, with the Eagles favored in this one. Right away, I really liked how we looked last week, but I'm going to be a realist here and not a fan for once and say that I think a lot of that's going on with the Rams has to do with play calling, and I don't think he's called in 2 games. He has not called great games. I mean, they came out against us and they tried to establish the run against. Even with guys out, we're notoriously pretty good team against the run. I don't know why they didn't try to air it out a little bit more, but it seems like the game plan's been a little bit off for the Rams. So as much as it was a great win, I loved it. And I know we had a lot of guys on it with plus 13 with the Eagles. Nice, easy winner for most of the guys last week. I'm not too sure I'm sold on the Birds just yet. I love Nick Foles. The defense is playing better, and it seems like the team rallies around him. But I'm not sure how I feel about this one just yet. I have to dig in a little bit deeper here with this one.
Yeah, and I agree with what you just said about play calling with the Rams. And don't get me wrong, it was a great Philadelphia win. Philadelphia absolutely deserved the win. One thing that confused me the entire game is if you go back to the beginning of the season, the first 7-8 weeks, Todd Gurley alone was on average carrying the ball 23 times.
Right.
And now he's getting it 11 times a game, 12 times a game.
Right.
Nobody said that he's not 100%. He's not signs of injury. So you tell me why the best running back in the league is not touching the ball more than 11 or 12 times. That's terrible calling.
Yeah. Right.
So, again, I think that this may be a little bit jumping the gun with the public here jumping all over Philadelphia because of this win. Initially, I like Philadelphia.
Right.
I agree with you. I'm not sold on Philly yet. I want to see what Nick Foles can do over the next week.
Right.
Just to see. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have a lot of time to get into rhythm, but he did win Super Bowl last year. Doesn't matter what Carson Wentz did before that because he's a great quarterback as well. There's no denying Nick Foles won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I hate when people try to take that away from him because he led that team to that Super Bowl. He won it for them. So initial thoughts, I like Philly, but I don't like the way this line is jumping so fast. So again, this would have to be a game time decision.
Right, and I think I would like it. I prefer it on the money line. If I could get it on the money line, that'd be great. I don't think I'd want to lay any points. I think it'll be a tight game. I mean, this Houston team's good. I mean, 10-4. They're 5-2 on the road. Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt, man, it's going to be a lot for our O-line to handle. So we'll see.
Like I've told everybody all year, I'm not sold on Deshaun Watson. Everybody knows that. He's had games where he's had signs of greatness, but he's also had games where he shows that he is still a rookie.
Right.
So it's what game is Deshaun going to have? Because if he decides to leave it on the ground, Philadelphia can control this game. If he airs it out and he's successful at it, Philadelphia could be in for a very long day. So this may be one of those games where, for you want to be a fan, and for me, I want to save my money.
Right. Yeah. I'm definitely probably going to stay away, man. DeAndre Hopkins and Demaryius Thomas on the outside, and the secondary being what I know it is. I want no parts of this game whatsoever. I'm just going to watch.
It'll be a good game. That's actually a game I'm really looking forward to watching.
I'm going to watch it, enjoy it. I don't want to put any money on that one. Moving up next, we have Minnesota Vikings going up against the Detroit Lions. Minnesota favored -4.5, moved up to 5.5. Total set at 43, moved up a little bit to 43.5. I mean, initially for me on this one, I think I would like the over in this one a little bit, but I mean, it's tough with this because Stafford really doesn't have a ton of weapons right now, man. A lot of guys banged up. They got rid of Tate. I believe Jones was hurt. Galladay's there, but I mean, if he's your best guy, he's getting covered by number 1 corners now. A lot of guys out, and it doesn't seem like Stafford's got a lot around to put points on the board.
He does it, and the thing is, Stafford gets beat up game in and game out. That's one thing that I've always had to give him credit for. It seems like ever since he's been in the league and he's been that franchise quarterback, he gets his ass kicked week in and week out and stands up and still he stays in the pocket and does it again. The one thing is Minnesota is we know they're a defensive team, but they have not been as impressive as they have in recent years. So do I think that Stafford can do something to put points on the board? I do. We know weather's not going to be a factor in this game. Right. So I do think that Detroit can capitalize on some situations, get in the end zone. We know Minnesota's going to be able to score against a terrible pass rush in Detroit.
Right.
So the side, I'm going to lean Minnesota because they are the better team. And for exactly what you said, Stafford just doesn't have any go-to guys that are reliable enough to know that he can go to them in times of need. But I think that I'm a little bit more intrigued by the total, and I'm going to have to lean over.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree with you there with Minnesota. -5.5. I like them up to a touchdown, all the way up probably to 7. I think they can take care of this one pretty handily here. All right, we're going to keep it moving right along here. Green Bay Packers going up against the New York Jets. Line opened up at -3, favoring Green Bay. It is now a pick'em.
This line makes 0 sense.
It is now a pick'em. The total set at 45 dropped down to 44. Now, I mean, who's
home on this one?
The Jets are at home. So this game, the line kind of makes sense, but not really to me. I mean, I thought it would be about 3 when it came out. 3's cool, but a pick'em, I don't see that because
the opening line doesn't scare me. It's why it moved so fast down.
So quick. Right, so quick to a pick'em. That's very scary. I mean, they're 0-7. It's got to be. People see that, but still, it's Aaron Rodgers going against the Jets, man. It's the Jets. It's like, I don't know.
Like I said, you and I had a lean the other day on the Jets. We took them +7, bought it to 7.5 for the Texans. But you're going up against a somewhat of a rookie quarterback in Deshaun Watson, not Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So I may fall into a trap on this one, but I am not going to take Aaron Rodgers against the Jets as a pick'em. I don't care where you're playing, what the weather is, what his mama's doing, who's in the stands, what he's wearing, and if he has both arms or not. Aaron Rodgers, a pick'em against the Jets. Trap, no trap, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. There it is.
Yeah, as Jimmy says, well, I can smell the cheese. I can smell the cheese. It looks like a trap. It feels like a trap, but still, I'm still rubbing my hands together because I just can't see that Sam Darnold's going to come in and get a win against Green Bay. I don't see that. But yeah, that line is definitely
a close game. I don't think that Green Bay will run away with it. I don't think the Jets are as bad as most people make them out to be. But you are not going to give me a pick'em with Aaron Rodgers against the Jets and have me not. Well, if I fall into a trap, I'll be smiling at the end of it, knowing that at least I didn't bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So, again, guys, we're not leading you into a trap here, but we might be taking it ourselves.
I may not push it to you, but I may.
Just know that I may lose.
I may lose
on Aaron Rodgers.
But we're going to keep it moving here. We're going to move into Cincinnati Bengals going into Cleveland playing the Browns. Browns are favored in this one. -7, moved up to 7.5. Line opened up at 46.5, dropped down to 44.5. What do you think about that total dropping 2 points there?
I think the total is actually fairly accurate because I think the Bengals can't score right now. You have your banged up receivers, running backs. I wasn't a fan of Andy Dalton, whether he's in, out, hurt, healthy, doesn't matter. This is a good rivalry in the NFL. I really enjoy watching these teams play. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of, Cleveland or their quarterback. There's no denying that he's a stud.
I love
Baker Mayfield is a stud. He is going to be, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I like the line. Obviously, I'm going to buy it now and get it at 7. If I can find it at 7 somewhere, I'm going to take it at 6.5. I love Cleveland in this spot. I really do. And that's the first time I've said it all year. The past few years. But I am putting my money on Cleveland this week.
I like Cleveland in this spot as well. Like you said, I think that total spot on. I'd probably lean towards the under in that one at 44.5. I think that total's pretty good as well. I think there's a lot of vengeance in this one. They're really pissed at Hugh Jackson for that. I mean, you saw that with Baker, who didn't really want to shake his hand, and the guys were backing him. You know, his teammates were backing him in that, and they understood where he was coming from, and I understand where he's coming from as a competitor. You know, you feel stabbed in the back, former athlete. I mean, you played baseball, you know how it is, man. You don't.
Oh, yeah.
We're not. There's no friends. There's no crying in baseball, and there's no friends on the field.
Not only that, when you're getting paid that amount of money to do it as well, and what it really impressed me is that even though obviously you and I have the back of the athlete here,
right?
His team, even being that he is a rookie and he hasn't proved anything yet to the people that have been in this league for 10, 15 years, they not only agree with him, but they have his back. That just shows the chemistry that's going on with this team now. The fact that they already trust each other. Cincinnati's in a terrible spot right now to be going up against 90% of the league. I don't think that I've really laid good money with Cleveland unless it's been in teaser parlays or anything over the past few years. Right. I am, as of right now, every game that we've talked about other than one, this is probably one of my favorites right here. Getting Cleveland at a touchdown or less, I really like.
I agree. I think that public's going to jump on it and drive it up. I think it ends up at maybe 8.5. So I may have to lay off, but I if I could get it at 7, that'd be great.
Guys, if there's any game, like we told you, there's been 2 or 3 games that we've talked about thus far that we say these need to be game time decisions. If there's anything that I can give you my professional advice on to bet now instead of waiting, I would bet Cleveland right now and get it as low as you possibly can.
I agree with that for sure. All right, we're going to move into these 4 o'clock games. LA Rams, who've been struggling, dropped 2 in a row, going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Line opens up at 15.5, obviously favoring the Rams, drops down to 13.5. With a total set at 47.5, drops down to 46. Initial thoughts, Chase. What do you got?
Initial thoughts on the side because of the way LA's played here recently. I almost want to lay off the side on this one, see what they do. Obviously, we know Arizona is probably the worst offense in the league as a whole. Not a terrible defense, but you're not going to contain the Rams from scoring. So I am actually probably going to fade the public a little bit and say that I actually kind of like the over because I think the Rams can have a huge game. But I also think that they're going to allow Arizona to do something. But if I'm going to look at the side and be forced to pick, obviously I've got to take the Rams. I'm not going to take the Cardinals.
Right.
The side is something that I think that because of the last 2 weeks that I'd want to lay off of, sit back, watch, take notes, and pay attention to, and maybe sprinkle a little bit on the over and move on to the next week.
Yeah, this is a game I think that I kind of want to sit and watch, and not watch the actual game, but just see how the Rams respond. I mean, they've played 2 games in a row where they haven't even scored 30. This is a team that was averaging well over 30. They only put up 23 against the Eagles this week, and it kind of looks like they're in a rut. So, I mean, they're going on the road, obviously 5-2 on the road. The Arizona Cardinals are terrible. This should be a spot where they beat the brakes off the Cardinals. I mean, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. Rosen's really struggling with that offense. They don't have a lot of weapons around him. I mean, they had Christian Kirk. He goes out. You have David Johnson, but everyone knows he's getting the ball. And Larry Fitz is on the back end of his career there. So, I mean, Rams should blow them out. But, the Rams haven't been the Rams the last couple of weeks. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. 46, I think, is actually pretty close to where it should be. It should be it's almost, about spot on. But I still would have to lean towards the under. I mean, I think even if they score 35 or 40 points, man, if they score, it'd be at the end, maybe a backdoor touchdown or something. The Cardinals, they're just so bad, man. I can't.
They're awful. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, this game should be an absolute blowout by the Rams. And but we always say double digits are tough in the NFL. You never know what happens in any given week. So, I mean, gun to my head, I'm definitely going to lay the 15 and a half, whatever it is. And it's not that I don't feel confident in it. But because of 2 weeks, it's maybe one that I just may not want to put my money on and find better value out there. We'll see what happens next week.
Right. I mean, there's nothing worse than asking a bad team to score for you. I mean, 14 points. They only scored 14 against Atlanta. We know Atlanta's defense is nothing to cry home about at all.
Outscoring. I mean, they were up 7-0.
Right, yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. So, I don't know. If I had to, I'd lay the points. This might be a game I just don't touch altogether.
Right.
All right, moving on to your Bears going into San Francisco, who's got 2 wins in a row. A nice win against Seattle last week. Bears are favored -4 here. Total opened up at 43, dropped down to 42.5. Now, initially, I'm going to say that do not let your Bears fall into a trap here. They're riding pretty high. They've had some big wins here. do not come into San Francisco and think this is going to be a rollover.
No,
and
I don't think that it will be. You and I had this conversation about the Seattle-San Francisco game this past Saturday. When we were talking about it, we knew the line was off. We even said this is a perfect spot for San Francisco. There's something going on here. They're going up against a much better Seattle team, but the line doesn't make any sense. This line, I don't think it makes 100% sense, but I also think that starters are going to sit this week for the Bears. You've already clinched the NFC North. You have that. You're in a position that nobody thought you were going to be in at the beginning of the season. Nobody would have dreamed it in a million years that you would have had this season this fast. New coach, still a rookie quarterback, the trade for Khalil Mack, which nobody expected.
Right.
And what they've done has been incredible. So now having to go on the road, and you're going to go on this little road trip, you're going to go up against a team that's very hungry just to play spoiler alert to anybody they can.
Exactly.
Not necessarily against the Bears.
Right.
Just to anybody, just like what they did to Seattle. They just want to play spoiler alert and feel like they're a part of it. So this may be a spot where somebody like Mack or even Trubisky's limited on time because now you have nothing to prove against San Francisco.
Right.
So that's where I think the small line comes in, being that it is a very small line, odd at that. Again, this would probably have to be a game time decision because I think the public's going to jack this line up a little bit, probably towards the touchdown range. We'll see what sharp money comes in and does.
Right.
This may be a game to lay off of if I'm forced to do it. We obviously know who I'm going to take because they're your team. And it's nothing to do with fandom here. They're just the better team.
They are. They're far superior.
I would have to wait till Sunday because I want to see who's playing and not playing because I have a very strong feeling that somebody out there may not play.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear. I mean, I think that I agree with the point that you should rest guys, but only to a certain degree. I think that sometimes when you rest guys, they can get stagnant, and you kind of want to keep the juice. You want to keep the juice flowing a little bit, running into the playoffs, and the last thing you want to do is kind of lose that mojo. Obviously, you don't want guys to get hurt, but it's
especially a game that essentially doesn't mean anything to you.
Right.
Now, the thing, this very young coach that the Bears have, we haven't seen him in this position, so we don't know what he's going to do or what his thought process is. So for all we know, he could go out there, go full steam ahead, beat this team by 80 points, and do it like he has a purpose in life for doing it. Or he could get scared a little bit and say, listen, I can't lose these guys. We're going to go out there, play a quarter or two, and then I want you to come off the field. And that's where laying certain points on the road against a team that's hungry to beat anybody can come in and bite you. And this is a weird time of the year for that, for teams that we know are postseason bound.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like a lot of people are getting bit by that snake here at the end of the year, kind of not overlooking teams, but these teams are just hungry to improve and get wins and build confidence and go into the offseason and try to – but San Francisco, man, the hopes were so high with Jimmy Garoppolo. They signed Jerick McKinnon, and then both those guys go down, and it's like, okay, everyone was pretty much like this season's a wash. And, they haven't been terrible. They've been competitive. They've been in some games. Yeah,
they've made
but I think Chicago should win this game. I think this should be – this should at least be a 6-point line in my opinion, but –
I agree.
All right, we're going to move forward. Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans is favored in this one, -6.5. The line drops to -5.5. Opened up at 56. It moves down to 53.5. Wowzers. This is a tough one here. This is a tough one because I know this will be one that there's going to be a bazillion questions about, and everyone's going to be asking about it. And everyone's going to want leans about it, and everyone's going to know what's going on. Yeah, but honestly, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, God forbid we don't put this on our card. Every client that we've ever had will want to know what our lean is on this game.
Exactly. Pittsburgh's riding high after that win. First time they beat the Patriots in a little bit. Home win for them. They're 4-2 on the road. Saints are at home. They're 5-1 at home. I think the spread is a little high for my liking. 6.5 drops down to 5.5. I thought it'd be more around maybe 3.5, maybe even 4. But 5.5, man, I'd have to lean towards Pittsburgh in this one initially looking at it. I still think that total's high at 53.5, where it seems like neither one of these offenses have really been clicking. Obviously, we know they have the potential to really get it going, but the Saints have had some odd miscues. With that game, even the other night, it's like fumble. They get in the red zone and they're kicking field goals, which is very uncharacteristic of them. So, you would look for them to get it rolling here soon. I think they win this game. I don't know that they cover the spread, but I think that line's going to get a lot more movement here before the week's done.
I do too. And the one thing that's raising my questions right now is which way is it going to move? Because we watched what Drew Brees did at the beginning of the year. How many games did he go without a single interception?
Right.
Absolutely lights out football. There was nobody even that could be in the same room with him talking about how well they've done.
Right.
But what does he have? He has 3 interceptions in the last 2 games. He's starting to, I don't want to say find his mistakes. Maybe the mistakes are finding him.
Right.
Drew Brees goes out there and plays even remotely like he did first 6 weeks. I see a blowout by the Saints.
Right.
Other than the fact that their defense is also starting to struggle in certain situations again. And I feel like Pittsburgh has found their offense.
Right.
Not as dominant as they could be, but they're finding that rhythm. They're Ben's playing well. He's making good transitions between the ground game and the air game. So I'm going to say the under is what I like in this game because I think both defenses are going to step up in this game. It's the unknown of what either offense is going to do against.
Exactly.
I think it's going to come down to a quarterback's game and who's going to be there to support their quarterback. Each team has going to happen throughout the week, but I am in agreement with you about the under. The side, if I had to make a decision right now, I would not bet the side in this game.
Yeah, I agree with that one, 100%. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense has really improved through this year. I mean, they really struggled earlier on this year, and it seems like they finally found their niche. Young T.J. Watt, man, blitzing a lot. They're seeming to getting pressure on the quarterback. We saw how that affected Brady the other night, and with Brees being a shorter quarterback, that's something to keep in mind. It seems like teams are really throwing a lot at him more and a lot of pressure right up the middle, which kind of makes him sidestep left and right and messes up his view and his throwing lanes a little bit. So this game will be good. I think I definitely like the under in this one more than anything.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think Mike Tomlin is the better coach out of the 2 coaches. I think that, like what you said, coming up the middle to guard Brees because of his size, Brees is most comfortable when he can stay right there in the pocket without having to go side to side and use that peripheral vision. He wants to look straight downfield, stay in that pocket, and have somebody guard him. And I think that's going to be an issue with the blitz that Pittsburgh can bring. So I see quite a few turnovers in this game, maybe not just from the quarterbacks.
Right.
I see a sloppy offensive game, which brings us to an under.
All right. Yep, I agree. We're going to move forward. We have 2 games left on the card. We're going to a Sunday night game. Kansas City Chiefs going into Seattle, playing the Seahawks. Kansas City's favored, -2.5. The line hasn't budged. Total at 54, moved to 53.5. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Seattle. And there's why. The line, number one, I don't think it makes 100% sense. Kansas City has played well this year. Patrick Mahomes has been nothing short of incredible. MVP caliber season. Andy Reid is great, getting close to postseason time. We know what he does. He is the world's best choke artist. But going into Seattle, going into that atmosphere, it's already going to be difficult for you. The low line, the odds makers already know that Seattle's going to be able to keep up if they play their game.
Right.
Two things set Seattle apart from Kansas City to me. Russell Wilson's legs and the fact that he can transition at any time and run this ball and do it successfully, and Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a great coach. He is a great postseason coach, great coach under pressure. And, again, he's a coach that right now for this season, he doesn't have much to lose. So to go out there and take down a Kansas City team who has everything to lose on the road, I like Pete Carroll in this situation, taking a chance. I'll take the 2.5 points, buy it up to 3, and I like Seattle.
Read my mind on this one. I really like Seattle in this spot at home, coming off a tough loss against San Francisco. And honestly, Andy Reid was in Philly. I've seen a lot of Andy Reid. This is not typical, but the Kansas City teams we've seen in years past, this is what they do. They go 8-2, they go 9-3, and then they drop a couple. And we've noticed that they're not going to run the ball. Mahomes is going to throw the ball 50-plus times, and they're going to keep airing it out. I'm not really sure the status of Spencer Ware. Damian Williams did look very good, actually, catching the ball out the backfield. He's done very well. And with the shocking exit of Kareem Hunt with everything he had going on with that little scandal. But I like Seattle here. I would definitely take it 2.5, buy it up to 3 in this spot at home, 4-2 at home, coming off a tough loss to the 49ers. I like Seattle here for sure.
I do too. That's actually – so far, that's one of the favorite games that we've talked about. I think that it's kind of going out on a limb. I'm not saying the public is just going to be all over Kansas City. I think this may be one of the games that are not as heavily bet as most people think. But
Right.
I do think that sharp money will come in on Seattle. So for anybody that's wanting to get Seattle at the best price possible, this may be one of the ones you need to bet before Sunday. But
Yeah.
I definitely will be laying money with Seattle just for every reason that I just gave.
Yeah, I agree. Like you were saying about Russell Wilson's legs, I mean, they're running the ball very well. I mean, he hasn't had to throw it a million times like he's had to do in years past. They're really sticking to the game plan. And they're playing solid defense and they're running the ball and they're going to play keep away like everyone else does try to keep Patrick Mahomes on that sideline as long as they can and just tick, 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 tick. And obviously a strong lean towards the under in this one as well, with it being 53.5. Buy it up just because to get it at 54. I don't like to have any hook on any of my lines, so I'll always go up or down. But I try to get it 54.
No, it's Seattle, so I'm not expecting 70 degrees and sunny.
Yeah, it's going to be rainy and cold.
It's
going to be
Seattle,
rainy and cold.
I think we have to worry about that. But no, I
Yep.
definitely Seattle this week.
All right, last game here, Monday night game, Denver Broncos against the Oakland Raiders. Just looking at it right away, I could care less about this line. This game is going to be garbage. Denver favored -3, dropped down to 2.5. Total came out at 45, dropped down to 44.5. What do you think about this one?
Under. Need I say more?
It should definitely be an under in this one, unless we see Derek Carr pull out one of those rabbits out of the hat, and be good again. But I personally cannot stand John Gruden. I don't know, man. I can't stand him. I can't stand the Raiders. You take a team that was pretty solid and they win 3 games, you might as well just lose out, get a better draft pick, and try to build. But I'm not a John Gruden fan. Never been a John Gruden fan. I think Denver should take care of it. I honestly want no parts of this game whatsoever. But like you said, if I had to choose 44.5, I'm going to go ahead and take the under for sure.
Take the under. I mean, obviously, if it was in Oakland, it could be a different story because you said, Derek Carr.
It's in Oakland. It's in Oakland.
Oh, I thought you said it was in Denver.
No, it's in Oakland. Yeah, it's in Oakland.
Way, I still like the under because I don't think that Derek Carr is going to have one of these games. I think Oakland's defense will be able to contain this offense. This hype around John Gruden, who knows? In 2 or 3 years, he might be everything that he was hyped up to be. I don't see it. This year, not especially. I think Denver is slightly underrated for what people are giving them credit for. I'm going to lean under. I see this game being somewhere around 32, 33 points somewhere with a Denver win. So I lean Denver. I lean the under. Under is my stronger of the 2 plays.
Yeah, I agree. Denver coming off 2 losses in a row against the 49ers, and they come back and lost a tough one there to the Browns, which actually I think I was on that under. Were we on that under?
We were on that under.
We were on that under as well. Yeah, the Browns and Denver as well. I mean, you got Chubb and you got Von, all-time leading sack guy now for Denver. I don't see it turning out good.
We've actually been pretty dialed in on the unders. What do we have? We had 3 unders, big premium unders this week on the duo package. So we've really been on the NFL totals.
Yes, for sure. But that's all we got right now for the NFL card.
Yep. Anything else you want to add? Any promos? Because I know you got a $99 a week run right now. You're up a ton of units right now. So go ahead and give your plug. Tell everybody what you want to do it before we jump out of here.
Absolutely, guys. Derek Dimes here on the podcast. Facts riding with Dime. Little taxi time here. Riding with my boy Chase here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. You got some great information off of here. Been really hot here the last 2 days, plus 24 units in 2 days. 7-0, red hot, guys. $99. You can get a full week. It's also Wild Wednesday. You can check it out. That's a part of the promotions. We're doing 12 days of Ghost Picks Christmas, day number 6. I believe even $6. So it's usually $10. You get a full card. $6. You can get any capper of your choosing, the entire card. It doesn't get much cheaper, guys. If you want to check out some of the young guns on this team, 5 expert handicappers, myself, Chase, Jack, Benny, and of course Jimmy, our fearless leader, guys. Make sure you check us out, ghostpicksats.com. Check out Instagram, check out Twitter, check out Facebook. We have free content for you guys every single day from all different cappers, guys. You don't want to miss out on this stuff.
Guys, that's it for us. Facts First podcast every week. Enjoyed the shit out of having you. If you need anything, shoot us an email. You can go to the website, go to ghostpicksats.com, reach out to us. Or you can reach out to me, chase.ghostpicksats@gmail, derek.ghostpicksats@gmail, Benny, Jack, it all follows the same suit. Any questions you have, we'd be happy to answer them. Just start winning with Ghost Picks. Doesn't have to be with me. Doesn't have to be with Derek. Whoever you want to do it with, just get winning with Ghost Picks. We will lead you to the winner's circle with us. So, guys, as always, good luck.
God bless.
And grind
on.